Welcome to Speaking Up with Jessica Dumas. I'm a certified life coach that specializes in business, leadership, and all things speaking and confidence mindset. Let's chat. Hey, NCI friends. Welcome to Speaking Up with Jessica Dumas. And thank you again for allowing me some time to come into your afternoon. I hope that you're staying safe out there. Winter has finally caught up with us, so hope you got your winter tires on and hope that you're doing safe and that you're having fun. December is a time of reflection. Am I right? This is the time of year where there's so much going on, right? So many get-togethers, so many things that, sometimes we feel like we're missing out on stuff. But I find that, maybe it's because the moon comes up quicker and the sun goes down sooner. The days are shorter, ultimately. There's a lot of downtime as well, and there's a lot of time to reflect. And so I know that this is when that time starts to come up for me. I start thinking about, what's going on at home, what's going on in my business, what's going on in my community. And so I thought what I would do today is share a few tips on, how do you manage going through a stressful time? And maybe it's not so much a stressful time, but these are some just good habits to incorporate for your mental health, for your well-being. I was at a women's networking event this week, and someone invited me to come listen to someone talking about burnout and how to avoid burnout as an entrepreneur or as a professional. And I was like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm pretty lucky. I get to do this for a living. I'm a life coach. This is my job. This has been my job for 10 years. And I'm so thankful for that. I'm so grateful for that. I get to spend time looking at how do we have less stress in our life. I coach other professionals and entrepreneurs. And so it's my job to do all that hard work, all the research in my health, my healing, and confidence building, all of that stuff so that I can share it with you, share it with my other audience. And maybe you've joined me there already at the Confidence and Communication podcast. You can listen to that wherever you listen to podcasts. But I'm so thankful that I get to do this. I get to spend a lot of time thinking and talking about these things. And so I want to share with you a few things that came up for me when I started to think about, sometimes this time of year, and it could be any time of year, like I said, these tips and tools can help you get through a stressful time whenever that is, and can help you boost a really good time. Maybe you're having a real good time. So here's number one. Let's jump into some of them. The first one is we need to be aware of our triggers, and then we need to avoid them. So that's kind of two things right there. Is what are the things that trigger you? So when it comes to a holiday season, when it comes to maybe visiting certain places or things with your work, we need to know what are the things that trigger us. And how do you become more aware of that is when you get, maybe it's a text or a phone call, or you see something on social media, you see a thing that all of a sudden brings up a feeling inside that you're like, I don't like this. Or maybe it triggers, another feeling. And you need to be aware of that. So I invite you to just become more aware of what are my triggers when it comes to stress and how can I start to avoid them? So here's an example of what I've done. Is I'm like a junkie for newsletters. If I'm on a website or I'm on social media and I see something that says sign up for a newsletter or sign up and get a discount code or sign up and learn more, I'm like, okay, I'm there. So I'm I'm not going to tell you how many emails I have in my inbox. Oh my God, that's embarrassing. I'm not going to tell you. But maybe you have something similar. Maybe you have an overload of something. And your trigger, so what became my trigger was looking on my phone, that little red dot with all of the numbers, right? All of the numbers, because there were so many. And it would really stress me out. And I knew, and I've gotten better, I'll go through and I will delete all of the emails for newsletters that I've signed up for and stuff like that. And I'll stop the subscription so I'm no longer getting the emails. So I'm working on it. But that little red dot on my phone became such a trigger. So there are actually options for you if you use a smartphone or anything else. You can go in and you can take off the notifications. And so and if you follow me on social media at jessicadumas.ca, you might know that I enjoy social media. I love being active on there. But the notifications were something for me, for my email and my social media, that I was just like, you know what? I don't like it. I don't like the bing. I don't like the number. I don't like seeing it there. Even the red dot. Like, I've removed those notifications on my phone for email and social media. And so that's what I invite you to do, is look at what triggers are happening for you in any part of your life, and how can you start to change those? I want to invite you to give yourself some permission that you don't have to be led by that. You don't have to wait for the notification. You don't have to respond. You don't have to, have those triggers that cause stress or cause any discomfort to you. And I'm going to tell you this all the time. You have the power. You can make those choices. So become aware of your triggers and figure out how you can change those and how you can avoid those. The next thing that I want to share with you is, if being on social media is something that triggers you, maybe it's certain people's stories, people posting about, whatever. I'm not going to get into those details. I want to invite you to stop following those people on social media, or, limit your time on social media, because social media can be a huge trigger for many of us, because we start to compare ourselves. We think that everybody else has it going on and we don't. There are so many things that social media is really good for. Like I said, I love to be involved. I love to be active there. I think social media is a great thing, and I always have. But I remember back in the day, and people are probably still saying it, that, oh, Facebook is too much. There's too much drama. There's too much this, too much that. But you know what? On my Instagram and my Facebook, when I go on there, I have followed pages of inspiration, of guidance, of entrepreneurship, of spirituality. I have followed all of these pages that inspire me. So when I go on social media, I'm not seeing all the drama, because I'm not looking for it. I'm looking for things of inspiration. And so I'll stop following people. I'll unfriend people, and it's no big deal. It's like, you know what? Like, this is my social media. I get to curate it. And if there's certain things that I don't want to see and I want to be on social media, then you get to do that. So I want, again, give you permission that you get some time to do that. And further to that, this is the third one, is it's up to you to avoid comparing yourself to others. And here's the thing that we do that is not good for us, is we compare our insides. So all of our own traumas and triggers and disappointments and fears and all of the areas that we feel like we are not measuring up on the inside, we're comparing that to what we see on people's outsides. So maybe there are, and again, I'm going to use the social media example, is maybe there's people who are posting on social media and it looks like they just got their shoes together. Like, they just know what they're doing. Look how well their photos look and this and that. And it's just, sometimes it's like, bleh, I don't even want to look at that anymore. But the thing is, we don't know. Like, our idea of social media is we want to put our best versions out there, or our best perception, right? We want to put our best foot forward when it comes to social media, but we're comparing our own. We know what's going on with us, and we're comparing it to that other perfect picture, but it's not true. It's not true. So just, some awareness there to recognize that, we're making up stories in our heads most of the time. So this is number 4. The other thing that you can do is you want to remind yourself of your own values. We don't often see this reflected out in our world in the way that would be really helpful. We don't often see our own values reflected on social media or other places that we're looking. And so I really encourage you to take some time, and maybe you can do that after this message that I'm sharing with you, is grab a pen and a paper and write down 5 things that are really important to you. 5 things that are really important to you in this season. 5 things that you can't imagine going without right now. Just make a list of 5 things that are really important to you, things that bring you happiness. Because it's up to us to recognize that. And once we can get really clear on where it is that we're going, and when we write down our values and focus on what brings us joy, when we can see it written out there, sometimes that's just a really helpful activity for us to say, you know what tonight could use? Or do you know what this weekend could use? Like, what's important to me as part of this season or any season? This is an exercise you can do all the time and anytime. And, what's important to me right now? I need to bring some focus in. And once you're writing it down, can be a really helpful exercise. And if you write it on a Post-it note, you can put it up at your desk, or you can put it up on the fridge, put it up where you're making your coffee, and just remind yourself of your values and what makes you happy. What brings you happiness? We need to spend some time thinking about those things. This causes us to get into a routine of gratitude. And I'm going to push you on this one too. Sometimes we think that, I appreciate. Of course I appreciate. Of course I have gratitude. But I want to challenge you to go a little deeper. There are mornings, on a good morning, I don't get to do this every single day because I'm human and sometimes I got to rush. But on a good day, before I get out of bed, I will start to list things that I'm thankful for. And sometimes you really got to push yourself. And if I'm laying there and if I had a really good sleep, or, maybe I didn't have a really good sleep, I'm pushing myself to say, oh, I love my pillows. I love my blankets. I love my bed. I love my safety of my home. I love my privacy. I love, and it's just coming up with that list of all of the things that you have gratitude for and appreciation for, and then keep pushing yourself forward into it. And that's really going to change. Like, if you wake up and you're feeling good and you do that, you're going to feel even better. If you wake up and you're feeling a little challenged, then that's really going to change things around for you. So check that out. My final tip on how to, relieve a little bit of stress in any time is to look more inward than outward. I think many times, and this is something that I'll talk about often in anything that I'm sharing, is our society has really taught us to measure up to a standard or a gold star, or has taught us to measure up to external validation rather than internal validation. And the more years that I'm alive, the more I realize the validation is really coming from inside. And you know what? That might take some inner work. That might take some patience with yourself, some kindness to yourself, some compassion to yourself. But that's where we're going to find our joy. That's where we're going to find our peace. And you know what? Let's go inward. Let's go inward. Let's take some breaks from social media if that's what we need. Let's become more aware of our triggers and learn how to avoid them. Remind ourselves of our own values and what brings us happiness. Give ourselves some more time and appreciation. And you know what? Another thing that I want to say to you is I want to give you permission and ask you to give yourself some compassion to following the trends and the traditions that make you feel good, and not following old traditions that no longer serve you. And that means, gonna say it, sometimes in this season, we're spending way too much money, things that we can't afford. We're going into debt. We're upholding stress because we want to hold on to a tradition that no longer supports us. So that's my message to you. Thanks for your time. I really hope that you enjoyed my message last week. I had a guest. Next week, I'm going to have another guest. And you know what? Thanks again for being here. I offer coaching to entrepreneurs and Indigenous professionals who want to get paid to speak. And right now I have a 1-month special. It's a coaching offer that is only available for this month. So if you want to learn how to write your talk or strengthen your talk, and learn how to negotiate your speaking fee and get paid to speak, I'm your girl. I'm on a mission to help Indigenous professionals everywhere get paid for speaking, because often we're brought up in environments that we are expected to speak for free and step up to indigenize. But if I can help it, that stops now. So reach out to me, jessicadumas.ca on Instagram. That's also my website. And if you are interested in working with me, send me a DM. And I look forward to talking to you again very soon. If you want to send me an email, let me know what you thought about this. If you have any questions, reach out to me on my website or my social media. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much for your time. Miigwech, ekose, merci. Get in touch with me on Instagram or my website at jessicadumas.ca.